Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Women's Maximum Fitness podcast. Today is Wednesday, and I had decided that on Wednesdays I was going to be doing videos or podcasts that are based off my client questions, client voice notes. I did this before. It was actually very well received, both on YouTube, which is great because my videos are stupid, boring, and I don't put any fun stuff in there. It's just me talking. But the podcast was quite popular as well. So doing some of these questions, I think, is going to be very helpful. This client question was pretty simple for me to answer because of the variables that she told me about. But I thought if I would make it a more generic question, it would be something that we could all think about and be able to apply if variables were changed for the individual. So this is also going to coincide with a challenge that I am doing for myself because today is Wednesday, the first day of Lent. And whether you are a Christian or not, you might know that we often give up something for Lent or try to correct something, I guess I would say, that is sort of a sacrifice. And that is supposed to draw us closer to Jesus to understand what he went through fasting in the desert for 40 days before he died. So sorry that my faith is very important to me. But anyways, let's move on. So my challenge over the next 40 days has a lot to do with this question because I know that my training is very sporadic. And it has been over the last several years for one reason or another. It hasn't been a priority. And one of the things that has kind of led to a bit of a downfall in the rest of my fitness over the last few years is that training is kind of the cornerstone of my fitness. So you kind of can equate this with whatever element of fitness got you started is sort of your base. So I've struggled with eating disorders my whole life. And what I loved was training in the gym. So bodybuilding to me is always the cornerstone or the base of my fitness house that I am building. And similarly to what happened during the pandemic, during 2018, when my daughter got really sick, I wasn't able to go to the gym. And so the cornerstone of what the other elements ride on was taken away from me, or I didn't make time for it, or I didn't want to be that inventive. And and then there's like a collapse of everything else. So usually what happens is you find something that you love. Maybe you fell in love with, being a vegan. And so diet became really important to you. And then you got into like training or yoga, or maybe you found CrossFit. Whatever is your cornerstone, then you start reaching out like, okay, well, if I tweak up my diet, then I'm going to be a little more healthy. Maybe I need to work on my sleep or my water or whatever. All these things get stacked up like bricks building a house, but whatever you started with is going to be your main driver. And it's going to be super important for you to keep that in place, because without that, you're going to have, it's a house of cards and everything's going to fall. So we know that no matter how great a program is, if you can't adhere to the program, you will not be successful, whether it's the blatant obvious, like, I can't do it, I quit. People quit all the time. I don't think that is ever the answer. I think that modifying things so that they coincide with the other priorities in your life, it's a little bit more doable, a little bit more easier. You have to figure out how to modify your program on a day-to-day basis to allow you to keep it going and be consistent. And this is something that I struggle with personally also. So this is part of the reason why this question resonated with me and just really made me think about some stuff. So my client asked me, she said, I think she was working a double shift or something like that. And she said, in order for me to go to the gym on Friday, I'm only going to get 3.5 hours of sleep. So knowing how important sleep is, and I have, mentioned this before, but Matthew Walker did a podcast on Joe Rogan about sleep. He is a sleep expert, and it's probably about 2 hours. One of the best 2 hours of time that I've ever spent learning about something and listening about something, because it'll change the way that you think about how important sleep is, how much it affects everything in your day-to-day life. So for me, knowing that she would have to miss out on sleep in order to get a workout in, it was pretty easy for me to say, and she had actually already decided that. So I want to commend my client as well. She said, I'm skipping my workout because I can't, function on 3.5 hours of sleep. And it's true, because a lot of times we will push through to try to stick to our program when, then what would have happened? She probably would have got maybe a crappy workout on, maybe it would have been okay, but the lack of sleep would then carry over to probably her workout the next day and her work and her just day-to-day demeanor, hormones, all these things. Again, I would encourage you to listen to this podcast so that you can understand all the various elements that are affected by lack of sleep. So I said, great, don't just skip your Friday workout. You definitely do not want to miss, you don't skip sleep in order to get a workout in. Like, that is a no-go. And so if your only time to work out is in the morning before, and you have to cut your sleep in order to do that, long-term, you are not going to, not only will you not, results will plateau rather quickly, everything else is going to fall apart. So you have to figure out something else, because cutting your sleep short in order to do anything else is long-term really, really bad for you. So that was an easy question. But what I had noticed in my life was I tend to skip my workouts. The body that I have right now is basically from 2, at most 3 workouts a week, sometimes less. And this kind of why I do upper lower body training is because, for the most part, hopefully I'm getting one upper body workout in and one lower body workout in. So with this 40 days that is going on, my goal is to get all my workouts in. Now, that does not mean that I will not have days that I'm not working out, because rest days are just as important when you're training intensely. But what I had explained to my client, and what I am talking to you about now, is that there are ways to modify your workout rather than just skip it, so that you can still stick to your program in a better way, rather than like what I had been doing, just like not working out at all. And so I want to talk about some of those options. But first, sorry, I had to pause for a minute because I want to think which direction I was going here. But first, I want to explain kind of what my goal is over the next 40 days. So the best plan for me is to do an upper body, lower body day, and then an off day. Sometimes I can do 3 days in a row. So I'll do an upper body that's more pull dominant, a lower body, and then I'll do an upper body that's more push dominant, or, flip those around. But essentially, I have 5 workouts for lower body and 5 workouts for upper body that I am alternating. And usually it works out best for me to have a day off in between. Now, in the past, I would have been like, I worked too much today, it's too late, and I would just skip the workout. So one thing is to schedule a time for your training every day and stick with that time. For me, I had decided, if I wait until the workday is done and I pick up Anna, a lot of times I stick around doing stuff at home, and it ends up getting too late and I'm tired. My job makes me really tired, and then I don't go to the gym. So I gave myself two options. One is to go at 1 o'clock on my lunch break, which I am self-employed. And so, especially as it's getting later out too, I like kind of working into the evenings as well. So it's not a huge deal for me to take an hour and a half break in the middle of the day to go to the gym. The other option is to go at 3:30 after I pick up Anna from school and come home and then go to the gym. So I gave myself two time options when I have made appointments where I will absolutely go to the gym. Okay. The second thing is, and this is something that I had talked to my client about, you can, granted, if the sleep factor wasn't an issue, let's say she just was trying to get her workout in and it wasn't going to work out at her normal time, there are several options how you could still get your workout in, even if it's not the full workout or the best workout, how to stay on track with things. Because a lot of times, even just skipping something can go like, oh, and then you miss another day, and then you miss another day. And then that goes way right back to adherence, which we were saying at the very beginning. Adherence is what will keep you progressing. It's like that saying, it doesn't matter if you're crawling or you're falling forward, you're still moving, more than somebody who's just sitting on the couch stuffing their face with Doritos. So, and which is actually stepping back. But anyways, slow moving forward is honestly better because on a day-by-day basis, you can evaluate trying some of these different things, what's going to work out best for you. So for me, another thing with training was I was getting some anxiety about some of my heavier lifts. And I know it hurts and I know it's hard. And then I'm like, I don't want to do it. And so that can be really daunting. I know anybody who has keeps a log book, who does, their squat lifts or deadlifts, or, for me, it's a barbell RDL. I know it's going to be hard and I have to be on point and really careful because obviously I don't want to hurt my back and I want to make sure my form is good, but trying to beat those log books and knowing that's a really hard lift can give me a lot of anxiety about a leg day, and I will skip it. I'll put it off, which is pretty crazy, but that's kind of where knowledge has gotten me, where it's I almost wish I didn't know some of the stuff I know because it gives me anxiety knowing a lot of things about the things that I know about how to train. And, because where I used to go into the gym and I would just do whatever. And I loved training and a lot of volume. And I didn't do a lot of heavy lifts. I did a lot of cables and dumbbells and squats on the Smith machine. Not that, I love the Smith machine. Don't get me wrong. It's great, especially as you get older. So for safety reasons and whatnot. But what would happen is, those are your newbie gains. You can pretty much do anything at the beginning of your training as long as you're eating and your body fat is high. Either you're eating in a surplus or your body fat is high enough, you are going to progress at the beginning of a program, whether you're doing things right or wrong. It just, but what happens is as you become more seasoned, you have to do things like increase intensity, use progressive overload, really step on the gas, and then have your rest days. So training changes, and I'm not going to say it's not as fun, but it's not as easy. And if you want to continue to be better, you can't do what you were doing previously, unless just having some exercise is important to you. But like I said, it's such a mind game because I was like, I can't do it the right way, the way I know I'm supposed to do it, because it was stressing me out. So I was just not doing anything at all. And for me, obviously, that sets me behind. It gets me off track, and then I am not adhering to anything at all. So what are some of the things that I will use myself as an example that I can do over the next 40 days to ensure that every 2 days I'm doing my training? So one is I have set a time, and I know that I will pick either of those 2 times and I can always make that work. So if one doesn't work, the other will work. Okay. The second thing is doing a modified workout. There are a ton of ways to modify a workout. And I could say, first of all, you can eliminate your heavy compound lift if it's stressing you out, right? Also, though, I know that it's not usually my first lift. I usually have an accessory, whatever, that I do first. Or even, you start off late because you're warming up. So if you just get in there and get started, usually it's like my second exercise, so I can get it over with. Do your best, get it over with, and don't put so much pressure on you to do better. At this point, you just need to do it. So, and by doing it, you are going to get stronger. I think the effort shows up when first you do the discipline and then the motivation shows up. So get started and then you will be able to keep going. But you can always tell yourself, hey, I'm going to skip my squat today. I'm going to skip my deadlift today, and I'm going to do the rest of my workout. So that's if you have time. Okay. If time is an issue and you have, let's say, 7 exercises, pick 3 or 4 that you can do. That should only take you about a half hour. So you can shorten your workout for sure that way. You can modify your workout by maybe doing half of it again, but make it more intense, like doing drop sets or something like that. That is a way to make the most or make more of a workout that you have shortened the volume on. You could just go in there and say it's back day and you just don't want to do anything. Go in, do 5 or 6 sets of lat pull downs, just pyramiding up. A lot of times, like I said, if you just go there and you show up, you'll be able to work through the rest of your workout. So just start. And then the last thing I would say is just walking. Walking is always I've noticed even just doing some form of exercise can get you going either to doing your workout or to at least doing something. So, the last couple of weeks, I fell into a bit of a funk. I think because it's just so cold here in Michigan and I was so cold. So I did a couple of things. One, I turned up the heat in our apartment so it's hot. I know it's going to cost me later with my electric bill, but mentally, I was just shivering. I just was cold. I didn't want to do anything. Then the second thing was I made myself go to the gym and I just did a full body workout, mostly cables and stuff like that. I didn't do any heavy compounds. I was in there for about an hour and a half, just doing some of my favorite stuff. And I think that's kind of where I needed to get back to as far as my headspace goes to get me back on track with my program. So doing something that is different from your program, as long as you're doing something, is definitely going to help with adherence. And maybe that's something you need to do. Maybe you need to do a class once a week or once a month. Or, take a break and go for a walk outside, even though it's freaking cold. Whatever it is that creates some sort of adherence is what is super important. So anyways, you can modify your workout, but my goal over the next 40 days is to not skip a workout that I had intended to have, because it is very easy for me to put things off. And then you get sort of in this slump, you're tired, it's very daunting, and you need something that's not daunting in order to get you to the gym. So part of a workout, a modified workout, 1 exercise, 4 exercises, get up and do some jumping jacks, whatever it is to sort of get you out of that headspace where it's, it's intimidating. You've felt like you failed, you waited too long. You're supposed to be taking better care of yourself, all these things. Anytime you quit, anytime you mess up, you can always start over, and I think that might be a time too to evaluate your program. Maybe I need to pull out compound moves for a couple of weeks. Maybe I need to go through my workout and just do lower my rate of perceived effort. So I'm like, I'm just going a little bit lighter. It's not creating like anxiety. So definitely some options there. So I'm going to look at my client voice note and see what it is that I want to play for you guys. Because I think there was some good stuff on there. I think it's about 5 minutes. So 1 second. Okay, 2 things that I had said in this voice note that I wanted to share. One is that if you miss out on your sleep or you try to get your workout in when you are skimping on your sleep, so here's why rest is better. Basically, you would be dividing your energy between 2 workouts and probably making them sort of half-assed. By getting your sleep and skipping your workout for that day, you're going to have more energy to put into your next workout. And I want to emphasize this too. This is the second thing, that rest days are very important when you are intense with your training. It's the only way that you can regroup. It's very different than just exercising, because you're trying to progress. So you're trying to do better every time. So the level of intensity is greater. And so I always say, like, if you're training hard enough, you will need a rest day. You will look forward to your rest day. And that has been the case with me as well, especially when I'm inconsistent, because it's too much. And then I end up taking a rest day and sometimes even a second rest day. So somewhere along the line, the energy is going to get lost if you haven't recovered from your lift with your sleep and given yourself the sleep to recover. You're going to keep putting in these, half-assed workouts, and you definitely don't want to do that. This is another thing that is very important too. If you miss a workout, do not try to make it up. This will cause a ton of anxiety, first and foremost, because you're in this state of being behind, and trying to catch up is, what are you going to do? You can't do 2 workouts in a day and actually have them be quality. Or if you do, the one day after is also not going to, you're not going to have quality day after. You can't catch this stuff up. So if you miss one, if there's no way to do your workout, then I would say either do part of it or cut your losses. One option also would be, let's say like my client was doing her training in the morning. If she had an opportunity to do it after work instead, so do it later, that would definitely be an option. But just remember, now you're that much closer to the workout time that you're doing in the morning the next day, and you've kind of disrupted your pattern. So it might affect your performance in your workout the next day. So it's just a matter of deciding. Like, I would say if you're going to change the time of your workout and it's going to be disruptive, then again, doing a partial workout is probably going to be better, or just skipping it and just cut your losses. But this is one of the reasons why I like doing upper and lower training, because it's only going to be a day or 2 before I do another upper or lower body training session. So I'm not really behind. Whereas if you do a body part training and you miss, your back day, and now it's going to be 7 days before you train back again, that's not good either. So the other option would be to do it on a rotation. So if you're doing upper, lower, and you skip a day, you could do your upper body the next day and then just shift your days or whatever it is. So like I said, there's a million different options, which I don't know why I'm not better about incorporating these types of things, but hey, we're talking about it. This is accountability right now, and I'm sure it's going to be helpful. So let me see if there's anything else on this voice note that needs to be said before we wrap it up. Okay, there is one thing that I wanted to share here that I thought was a good analogy. The next step, one of the things that I was going to look at anyways, I'm going to see how you are with your check-in, but we may, eventually I'm going to incorporate a deload week, but we might have to dial back the volume of your training depending on,
we kind of boosted the intensity of things. So dialing back volume would be the next step, because it's kind of like shooting a bunch of arrows at a target first, and you're just trying to hit the target. That's what the volume is when you're kind of beginning. And now it's like, okay, now I'm giving you 5 arrows. We're going to try to hit the bullseye every time. So we start pulling away the extra volume that we're using to try to make connection with the muscle, and focusing a little bit more on making really good controlled connection with the muscle, and focusing on increasing intensity week by week, which would.
So I think this is really important to understand too. When people begin training, like I said, volume tends to be higher because intensity is not really learned yet. And I used this analogy last week as well about with throwing a ball. You hand a little kid a ball, they're gonna, well, probably not be very precise, but if you teach someone how to throw a ball, then they are going to learn how to channel the intensity, and learn how to use correct form and all that stuff. So it happens in stages, but the volume tends to get dialed back when intensity increases. And then you learn how to add volume, what's applicable for you. That's kind of how working with a customized program and a coach works. And then, when to incorporate a deload based on biofeedback and all these other things. So anyways, I think that is that's mostly what I wanted to talk about today, and to invite you to do this 40-day challenge with me. I am going to be posting my workouts as best I can on social media. I don't always video everything, but I'll try to at least have maybe like a written workout, or just kind of post my accountability on there that I did. And if I modified a workout, I will tell you that too, because for me, this is a good experiment for me with life on how I can stick with a program. And the last thing I want to say is just a disclaimer that this is not, this is applicable to, sorry, that's my alarm to tell me to breathe. I have an alarm set 3 times a day that has me incorporate breathing to help me with managing stress. But contest prep, this doesn't apply to contest prep, because if you are deciding to do contest prep, you really need to nail all the variables for the 4 months or so amount of time that you're putting into contest prep. You can't go skipping a workout. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't allow someone to do a modified workout rather than skipping it, but you have to be committed and set your life up in order to be precise, checking off all the boxes if you are going down this contest prep endeavor. This is about life situations, and missing one workout, especially because I know she was going to miss out on sleep, and she had had a really stressful week at work, and I don't think it would have been productive. It's not going to help her move forward in doing this workout, which is why knowing all these variables is really important, and why you as an individual would need to assess, why are you missing your workout? Is it a lifestyle setup that isn't working out for you to allow you to adhere to your program? Are you just not motivated, and that is, crap? because motivation gets a lot of crap, but honestly, it isn't the driver of most things. The driver of most things is wanting to reach a goal. And so you are going to make an effort. Effort is the driver of most things. So motivation shows up afterwards, after the party has started. So you have to go to the party, start the party, and then motivation is going to come to the party, because it's like, oh, hey, this is going on. Let's keep it going. So it's kind of like more, I think it should be called momentum rather than motivation. But anyways, so that's it. That's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this client question and answer, which was essentially, what if I have to skip a workout? What do I do? and know that you have options, lots of options. And as long as you are prioritizing what is important, like your sleep, your job, whatever it is, you can make time and you can make it work. I mean, you might just be somebody who needs to have 30-minute workouts, 5 or 6 days a week, 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. And a coach is going to help you with that, help you find what is going to work for you. So anyways, just remember that healthy looks different on everybody. And I hope that you guys have a great day.